Good evening, all of you. So, guys, today we are going to discuss another topic of beard. The name of the topic is experiential learning. Right, guys? Experiential learning. Okay. So, we understand what is experiential learning. So, guys, as the name suggested, experiential. Okay. Experiential means based on the experience. Right? This is called experiential learning. So, what is experiential learning? Experiential learning is referred to as learning through action, learning by doing, and learning through experience. This is called the experiential learning. Okay, guys, this is a most important topic. And I tell you, I share one informations with you, right? Even I think 3-4 years back, this topic has come in the B.Ed course. This is a very much important topic, right? So experiential learning means it is learning through action, learning by doing, learning through experience. This is called experiential learning. Okay, so relate this topic with your teaching, guys. You are the B.Ed students. Oh, this topic is on the YouTube. So many teachers are also looking this topic. So guys, compare your teaching with this topic. The meaning of teaching is that not pouring into the mind of the student. Make the student is kabil ki, so that enable the student so that he or she can learn by himself or herself. This is the meaning of teaching. Teaching does not mean pouring into the mind of a student. In fact, the meaning of teaching is arousing the learning power of the student. This is called the teaching. Okay, guys, so relate this topic with your teaching. So you have to teach like that to your student, right? Experiential learning. It means learning through action, learning by doing, and learning through experience, right? Okay, we understand. Okay, little bit more. Basically, experiential learning is a process through which students develop knowledge, skill, and values from the direct experience. Got it? So, guys, this is your duty being teacher. Okay, do you think that you teach in a such way by which you can develop the knowledge, skill, and values of the student? Right? If you are not teaching that way, so guys, you should understand this topic. It is a process, experiential learning, by which students develop knowledge, skills, and values from direct experience outside a traditional academic setting like internship, service learning, undergraduate research, study abroad, and other creative and professional work experience. David Cobb हुए हैं. Please remember the name David Cobb. Okay, who gave this concept experiential learning. He said that learning is a process whereby knowledge is constructed through the transformation of experience. Learning is a process whereby knowledge is constructed through the knowledge is created through the transformation of experience, right? Next, guys, this is very much important. Okay, this is a cycle of experiential learning. Being teacher, you must remember. Okay, if anybody asks from you, okay, tell me the cycles of experiential learning, guys, you must know that this question has come in the seated exams many times, right? So you have to understand the concept of experiential learning. Most popular educationist gave this concept. The name of the person is David A. Cobb, based on the idea that learning is a process whereby knowledge is created through transformation of experience. Four main elements which operate in a continuous cycle during the learning experience, right? So what are these four steps, four cycle? Okay, concrete experience. This is called cycle of experiential learning. Okay, means you have to teach in that way. Okay, how? First, understand all the 4 points, 4 elements. concrete experience, reflective observation, abstract conceptualizations, and active experimentation. Okay, पहले understand the concept. Concrete मतलब something solid. Concrete experience. Then reflective means, चिंतन करना. Okay, think in the mind. Reflect करना. Right? Abstract conceptualizations, something imaginations in the mind. And the active experimentations, then apply that particular knowledge. So guys, whenever you teach, these four things would reflect in your teaching. This is called the teaching. This is the way, you know we say na ki it is a effective teaching. Okay, from that way you have to teach to the student. Okay, so first understand the concept, the meaning of all the four, one after the other. This is a cycle basically. These all are depend on one another, right? Concrete experience, reflective observation, abstract conceptualizations, and active experimentations, right? Now understand these four things. Okay, first, Cobb and Fry describe experiential learning as a four-part cycle. The number one, the learner has concrete experience with the content being taught. Right? Whenever you teach to the student, so basically what happens? Learner has got the concrete experience. Now, the learner reflects on the experience by comparing it to the prior experience. Right? Always. For example, एक छोटा बच्चा है, small kid. Okay, you have seen na when he sees the cow. So what happens after a 2 months or 3 months when he or she goes to the another city, when he sees the horse over there, and sometimes he says that he is a cow. So basically, what the baby is doing? Baby is when he saw the horse, okay, he is the image of the horse, he is reflecting with the prior experience. So पहले क्या था? He has seen a cow. So sometimes you have seen na wrongly he says that he is a cow, she is a cow, to the horse. So basically teach from a that way so that learner can compare the knowledge with the previous knowledge. This is called the learner reflects on the experience by comparing it to the prior experience. Okay. Number third is based on the experience and reflection. अब दोनों चीजें आगे देखो. Concrete experience and reflection. Based on the experience and reflection, the learner develops new idea about the content being taught. ऐसे learning develop होती है, ऐसे new contents आते हैं, right? And number four is the learner has known everything. The learner acts on his new idea by experimenting it in an experiential setting. Right, guys? So do you think that you teach like that way? You should teach like that way. Okay? So now you would be agree with my sentence, right? पूरी दुनिया के अंदर जो नालायक होता है वो स्टूडेंट कभी भी नालायक नहीं होता, guys. Okay? तो basically, student क्या चीज है? Student is an image of the teacher, right? Whatever is taught by the teacher, he learns it. Right, guys? So there is, need to improvement in our teaching learning process, right? That's why in a B.Ed course, you come to know that teaching is not everybody's cup of tea. You think that you have done the graduation, post-graduation, and you start teaching. Guys, sometimes you don't know, unconsciously, you are killing reasoning power of the student. You are killing the critical learning skill of the student. Okay, if you are not familiar with the teaching methodology, right? So, I think, all the 4 points has clear to you. Concrete experience reflects on the experience. Then conceptualizations. Last one is active experimentations. Okay, these are the 4 cycles. Okay, so examples of experiential learning as learning to ride a bike. Okay, Now I'm giving you one example so that concept would be clear more to you. Okay, one example. Okay, how we learn the ride, how we ride a bike, how we, ride a bicycle and others, right? So one is reflective observation. Reflective observation means thinking in the mind, है ना? Reflective means चिंतन करना mind के अंदर. Okay, so we think that thinking about the riding and watching the another persons to ride a bike. This is called a reflective experience, reflective observation. Okay, we are observing someone, okay, riding a bike, watching the another persons to ride a bike. Second is abstract conceptualization, right? Abstract means वो जो understanding the theory and having a clear grasp of the biking concept, abstract conceptualization, right? I give you one example. Suppose you look at bus. Okay, bus is moving from the road. Okay, so whatever the internal process of the bus, this is called the abstract conceptualization. Okay, bus is moving due to the internal engine hai na, lot of things, due to that bus is moving, है ना? We see the outer structure of the bus, a car, है ना? We see the outer structure, but actually what is inner going, this is called the technical specification, right? Which moves a car या moves a bus. Okay, not the cosmetic features, right? This is called the abstract conceptualization. Understanding the theory and having a clear grasp of the biking concept. Now, concrete experience. Concrete experience क्या होता है? Receiving practical tips and techniques from a biking expert. This is called the concrete experience. And last is experimentations. Now, leaping on the bike and have a go at it, right? Because now the student has got first reflective experience, he saw another person to ride a bike, then he understood the abstract conceptualization, what is the internal process, how to ride a bike and other. Then he took the practical knowledge from the expert. Now he start riding a bike and others. Okay, so similarly I have taken a one example. So from you have to teach in like a through that way, so that these all the 4 points would reflect in your teaching of a 30 minutes or a 35 minutes, right guys? So whenever you have to teach to the student, these all things, 4 things should reflect in your teaching, so that स्टूडेंट मजबूर हो जाए इन सारी चीजों को लर्न करने के लिए, राइट? तो द in a short we can say that not pouring into the mind of the student, in fact enabling the student to learn by himself, to learn by herself. This is the meaning of the teaching. Got it? Okay, now we understand what are the objectives and principle of experiential learning, right? Number first is affects the learner's cognitive structure. Dekho, the first point is a very much important. So guys, when you are teaching to the student, okay, the first thing is that you have to strike on the cognitive structure. Cognitive kya hota hai? Internal, inside, right? Cognitive structures means, okay, it is written attitudes, values, perceptions, behavioral pattern. All 4 things are inside a mind. This is called a cognitive. Remember my first lecture of a psychology. What is a psychology? Psychology is the science of behavior. Okay, we divide in the 3 part: cognitive, conative and affective behavior. Ana, you remember na? Right? So these three things, okay, cognitive structure affects the learner's cognitive structures. When you start teaching learning process through experiential learning, so guys, what happens, what results are? It affects the learner's cognitive structure. Second, experiences are designed to evoke decision making, initiative, relationship building and accountability in learners, right? Next is learners accept new system of action, thought, attitude and behavior pattern when they accept a membership in a new group. So guys, when you are a teaching and you want to evaluate whether your teaching is successful or not successful, guys, you can come to know that only with the modifications of the behavior of the student. If through your teaching, learner has modified his behavior, it means your teaching is successful, right? Matlab, give impact on the persons, on the students. Students are coming very late in the class. So guys, next, provides learner to get practical experience and applications of knowledge for better understanding, right? So give the learner practical experience. Next, experiential learning fosters an interest and connections to the lifelong learning. So teach in that way, it should become a lifelong learning, right? And last point is the most important point. You can underline and you can write it. That's why I tell you, all of you, you should have a copy and pen, okay, when you attend the lecture, because many things I discuss with you. These are very much important. Okay, what is the objectives and principles of it develops the critical and abstract thinking skill for better problem solving and relationship building for the learner. Okay, teach in that way so that there should be a development in the critical skill, there should be a development in the reasoning skill, there should be a development in the abstract thinking skills of the learner, right, through the experiential learning. Now we talk about what are the importance and scope of experiential learning. Experiential learning fosters development of a self and organization. This method is a learner centered rather than the teacher centered, right? It means that the curriculum gives learner an opportunity to engage in the curriculum and the students play an active role in the process. Last time, students, if you remember, we finished the new education policy also 2020. Okay, and you have seen that in the new education policy, what happens? What is the structure of a new education policy? 5 plus 3 plus 3 plus 4 pattern, if you remember. So what happens in the first 5 years? Guys, students are, doing, taking an active role in the school process. Okay, there is a no examination. He clears the class first and second in the school, right? So, and in the class of a 6, what happens? Coding and vocationalization courses has added in the class of a 6. According to the new education policy, when the student goes into the class 6, along with that, he start learning the vocationalization courses. And what happens, guys, when he will leave the school after completing the 10th or 10 plus 2, not only he would be matric passed or plus 2 passed, even he would have a one skill in his hand so that he can earn bread and butter, right, guys? So education aisi honi chahiye. Okay, now you think that what is happening in the schools and others. Okay, do you think that after completing the 10th or 10 plus 2, what the student is getting? What the student is getting? We are making robot to the students, like, I'm just having the sum of the knowledge, nothing else. Don't have any skills and others from the traditional way of thinking, right? Next, it brings about change and better understanding of the attitude of the people. Next, it brings about perfection in performance of the job. Next, it helps in maintaining better relation. It helps in meeting challenges faced by the organization. Use of multiple senses can increase retention of what is learned. Teach like that way. There should be a development of a multiple senses, guys. Suppose you are teaching in a lecture method. So what is happening? Students are only listening. Are you agree? Students are only listening. So what is happening? Only the hear sense. You are working on that. Unki yahi develop ho rahi hai. You are not showing any picture, any you can say any PPT, any video. Okay. So guys, there should be a variety in your teaching so that you should work on every senses, multiple senses on the student. Okay. Give the student some of the work. when he will start working with the hands, he will involve himself. So there should be a, involvement of the multiple senses. Include the senses of, you have seen that. Okay, before starting the class, I asked some of the questions from you. Okay, I'm working on your reasoning power, your retentions power. Okay, I tell you, okay, learn the topic. Today we will discuss this thing. What is happening? It is a part of the teaching, guys. It does not mean I, switch on the computer and start teaching to you, okay, without making your base. So start such kind of a teaching, right? Involve multiple senses of the students. Give some work to the student, right? Client-centered learning becomes the focus. Experiential learning gives the last point, importance of and scope of experiential learning. Experiential learning gives opportunity to prepare for real life and work situation, right? Students are not, after the 10th or 10 plus 2, if they are not facing the life, if any of the problem comes in the, life of the student, so guys, we are the responsible being teacher. Okay, we couldn't give the such kind of a coaching, such kind of a teaching, because up to the 12 saal, 12 years, okay, students are in our hand. From morning up to the evening, 7 to 8 hours, okay, students are in our hand. So, up to the 12 years, what we have given to the student, after plus 2, he cannot do any kind of job and any kind of calculations and any kind of, problem solving activities. Okay. Now, actually, what happens? Last week, I was, in the news, I was looking the, interview of, Arvind Kejriwal, what he was doing in the Delhi. Okay. In a, 10 plus 2 class. Okay, he started to, gave, 2,000 rupees to every person's in order to do any kind of a business, and he made a sum of the group. So what happens? He made a group of a, 7 or 8 people, 8 students, and, given, 2,000 to each of the student of +1 or +2 class. So what happened, if and made the group 8 students, for example, so 8 students got the 16,000. Okay, then they are asked by, this is the 16,000, do any kind of a business. Okay, so every person does any kind of a business. No, I give you share with the one example. 8 persons, what they did that from the money of a 16,000, they made a such kind of a device. What happens whenever any thief comes to open the shutter, so it was adjusted with the shutter. So what happens when the thieves would come? Okay, so alarm will alarm baj jayega automatically, and that device is connected with the mobile phone of that owner. So what will happen? The call will go to the owner. So owner will come to know that, okay, there is a happening in the in my shop and others. So guys, believe me that Arvind Kejriwal was saying that 16,000, and they made a device and they have sold up to the 3 lakh rupees, 2.5 lakh, yet 3 lakh rupees. They have done the business. So involve such kind of activity. What is the purpose of education? Not working on the, making the student, the intellectual. Don't make the only the one aspect. Just you're working on the intellectual part. You have to become the being teacher. You have to work on the holistically, right? There should be a development of every part of the student, right? So experiential learning gives opportunity to prepare for real life and work situation. Okay, now students, see one example. How can school use experiential learning? Okay, and it is also covering the scope of experiential learning. You can write it. Okay, mock trials or debates. Think yourself, if you are teaching, okay, if in service teachers are looking my lecture, so please tell me last time when you started debates among the students, mock trials, organizing business internship, school camps, or boarding components to campus life. Here students are responsible for some aspect of their daily life, such as cleaning, time management, and study. Undertaking drills to develop specific physical abilities, specific skills. Community serving opportunities, to support disadvantaged communities. Okay, take the students to the slum areas, to the persons who are disadvantaged. Okay, and allow the students, your students, to do any community services program, community service opportunity, community services program for them, right? So develop such kind of a thing, guys. Not you have to give on the bookish knowledge. Okay, study tours to the international universities where student experience on campus life and undertake undergraduate study. Simulation such as in a business studies class examining the factors behind stock market fluctuation. Scientific experiments or open-ended, it is not coming clear, right? So such kind of activities, from these kind of activities you can start in your schools. Okay, and guys, compare these all the things with the new education policy and you would be agree everything, okay, it is has come in the new education policy. And you have seen that, right? Malak, even from the 6th class, vocational courses are added, coding is added with the student. Now after the graduation, post graduation, student starts the coding and comes to know about the coding. According to the new education policy, in the 6th class, 7th class, coding has come, right? Even the many vocational courses have come, so when they will leave the school they will get the knowledge of particular skill so that they can earn the well. Community services program, study tours. Okay, yes, everything has come according in the new education policies, right? Now issues and concerns. So basically kya hota hai, in India schools there are a lot of issues and concerns to implement the experiential learning. Even some of the teachers, students, schools wants to do that, but due to the some of the problems they couldn't start. So some are the points: limited time, limited access to resources. Sometimes we don't get a all the resources, constrained by the demands of the curriculum. Okay, so basically you have seen that in many of the schools emphasis is only given on to finish the syllabus, nothing else. भैया क्या होगा, यानी कि है ना, स्टूडेंट को हम क्या बनाने जा रहे हो? यू आर नॉट गोइंग टू मेक द मशीन टू द स्टूडेंट. Okay, there should be holistic development. Guidelines that are over restricting. Okay, so sometime in a syllabus by the principal, by the state government, government policies, such kind of a problems, issues and concerns comes, and they becomes the obstacle in the way of starting the experiential learning. Inadequate group work skills, not enough opportunities for reflections. Kahin nahi hai, not opportunities. Students, when they give the first semester, so what happens after a 6 months, second semester starts. It is saying that it is a 6 month of a semester, but 1 or 2 months to ऐसे ही निकल जाते हैं, last 4 month का semester रह जाता है, right? So guys, these are all the things, issues and concerns comes in the way of experiential learning. But you have seen that in the new education policies, okay, there is a solution of these all the things. So thank you so much for this lectures, guys.